And we're live. Hello, everyone. This is Simon. A quick update on Bitcoin and the larger question of cryptocurrencies in today's age. So, before I get to my sort of predictions and such about Bitcoin over the next couple of months, just want to take a look at what the bigger picture is. The bigger picture, interesting that what's flashing here is the galaxy. So yes, we're taking a look at the bigger picture. Is that mainstream adoption, which is something that Bitcoin is, always thought it would benefit from, is here. And so you can now buy Bitcoin at CVS, 7-Eleven, Rite Aid, and as well as the post office if you live in Australia. And so why isn't the Bitcoin price going up? Because as of this taping, it's at around 9,000. And about a month or a couple months ago, I mentioned that I thought June, July would be good. They haven't been bad, but they haven't been good, or I should say June, because it's July 2nd right now. And taking a look at the chart, well, I guess I'm going into the chart, but I'll get back to the big picture here in a second. I thought that because of Mercury and Gemini with the North Node, I thought that would stimulate it a bit. It hasn't done so. And, okay. I still think that this fall we're going to see a pump. And so I'm just going to extend what I thought was going to happen June, July to August, September. I think August, September are going to be the pump months when Bitcoin begins its bull run. And part of that is the big picture. So let's go back to the big picture here, which is that there was something called a halvening, where the supply of Bitcoin was cut in half. So imagine you were making $100 a day and now you're making $50 a day. Now what that means is you have two choices. Either you get out of the business or you learn to become so efficient that what used to take you a day now takes you a couple of hours. And so now you're still making $50 only, but you're making it in much less time. So you're more efficient. And so what that forces miners of Bitcoin to do is to be more efficient at generating Bitcoin, either by reducing their electricity costs, by upgrading their equipment, or otherwise. And that is a good thing because it keeps everybody on their toes. Now, after each of the halvings or halvenings, what has happened is for about 2 to 3, sometimes 4 months, Bitcoin is flat. Why is that? Because the miners who are not efficient, who have stored maybe a few hundred Bitcoin, or maybe even a few thousand Bitcoin, begin to sell them to cover their costs. And while they're selling them, they still remain in business. But the moment all of it's sold off, those miners can no longer operate and they leave, okay? Or they become more efficient. It's one of the two. And so what happens is that very soon, all of that extra Bitcoin will be sold off. Here's another way to look at it. There's a company called Grayscale, which is an investment firm that's buying more Bitcoin than is being made. So if I go Grayscale buying Bitcoin, and there you go. Look at the first thing that comes up. Grayscale is now buying 1.5 times the amount of Bitcoin being mined. That means they're buying up what's been stored. And once everything is bought up, well, what happens? The price has to go up. So Grayscale is an investment company, not just in Bitcoin. They are institutional investors. They cater mostly to, meaning big companies. Okay. So what does this mean for the price? It means that things cannot continue. So with news like this, you can now buy Bitcoin everywhere. With news like PayPal is dabbling in crypto. So PayPal and Venmo could, in the next few months, roll out a crypto option. You cannot do that and the price remains the same. So I think this is there have been a bunch of eclipses happening from the astrological standpoint, which are highly unsettling, and the market doesn't like things being unsettled. But once those settle down, in July we'll see another eclipse here in a couple of days actually. I think the next bull run is around the corner. I'm looking at August, September as likely months when that can begin. And I've mentioned before that I thought the housing market would dip. I made a video on this because a lot of the videos I make are based on client questions or student questions. So when they asked about the market, I did a chart for it. And it looked like 10 months after the question. So I think this was asked in March, so April, May, June, July, September, October, November, December. Yeah, so December of this year, roughly through about February, March of next year, there's likely to be something hitting the housing market in the US. Yeah, a negative thing. So you can watch that video. I think I forget when I made that. So this also means that people will be that housing, real estate will become less certain of an investment. And so this, along with these other kinds of news, indicate that without astrology, that cryptocurrency, Bitcoin specifically, could become a mainstream thing. Now, a crypto person figured out that if PayPal has 300 million people and there are only about, I think there are like 3.5 million Bitcoin remaining, or based on the amount of Bitcoin in circulation, I should say, which are, I think 18 million, it comes out to about each of their clients can only own, if they each bought Bitcoin, 0.05 of a Bitcoin, which is about $500, just $400 worth. So it's going to become a scarce asset. It's $400 worth right now. So 0.05 Bitcoin could be $4,000 worth, when the price goes up. So, okay, so when is the price going up? Well, we'll take a look at the chart here in a minute, but I want to bring your attention to a newsletter I did recently, and I'll put the link here below, about how this is more than just an investment. Because the idea here is that Bitcoin is, in the words of Isaiah Jackson, who is an author on Bitcoin. I should put Isaiah Jackson, Bitcoin. Here he is. Which is, the book is called Bitcoin in Black America. This is a quiet revolution because right now there are so many protests about injustice, but where does injustice come from? Injustice comes from economics. Think about it. Slavery. Now, even before slavery in the United States, slavery when the Romans were around, when the Greeks ruled the roost, right? Slavery is always about economics because you have someone working for you for free who is basically dispensable. And this is the root of that evil, it's an economic reason for doing evil in society. Now, even after slavery was abolished in the United States, for economic purposes, people of color, minorities, and even, immigrants even white immigrants from Europe, like Irish or Italians or Jewish Europeans, were discriminated against. But, certainly not as much as people of color. So, and how are they discriminated against? By policies like redlining. Interesting, the color of the pen is here is red, which, I learned about this when I went to real estate school. I didn't know about it otherwise. And, unfortunately, you don't really hear about things like this in the news, where people of color who wanted to get into good neighborhoods, even if they were qualified and had money, they couldn't, because there was a red line, in a sense, drawn around certain areas where they would put people of color, and they would not put them. This kind of looks like Texas, doesn't it? No, no correlation. But people of color would be excluded from the best places in the city. So what happened was they were included and stuffed into the worst places. And of course, crime is going to happen. Of course, people are going to rebel. Why? Because you're denying people opportunity. And so this revolution that's happening now is not going to create any meaningful change unless it addresses the economic problem. The economic problem is the root of this evil, folks. And, think about it. 100, 200, 500, 1,000 years ago, slavery may have been part of the world culture, and also in South American societies, in African societies. It was all over the world. Some people were subjugated. Why? Usually for economic reasons, so they could provide service. So Bitcoin, in the words of Isaiah Jackson and others, is the quiet revolution, because it's taking your economics situation into your own hands. What does that mean? Well, check out this article. Alex Mashinsky, who is an incredible innovator, gives you a 1-minute explanation of how poor middle-class people, pay Warren Buffett and investors like him hundreds of billions of dollars every year. How? Well, just click on the link here and you'll see it. But basically, the idea is every time you're charged a late fee or an overdraft fee that's $35, that goes to those investors, because that bank has not done you any service, right? They're just penalizing you. Those penalties go to the wealthy investors, who themselves never get any kind of penalty like that. So read this article. It's I put a lot of links in here. If you don't know who Alex Mashinsky is, he's the guy who invented voice over internet, which is the reason I can do this podcast with you here. The reason we can Skype, Zoom, and WhatsApp for free. Before that, you were charging $1, $2, $3 an hour to talk over, to your family overseas. So anyway, I'll just skip through here. What? Yeah. So what Alex has done here, I'll let you read the rest of this, is he's created a company called Celsius. And Celsius allows you to store your cryptocurrencies, meaning, say you work hard, you got a $500 check, this week or this month, and you only need 250 of it to survive. So put 250 away. What do people usually do? They put it in the bank, right? But the bank is using that to loan out to other people and make 20% interest. None of that is going to you. So what Mashinsky has done with the Celsius app is allowing you to earn interest up to 10% interest, compounding interest on your money, and to leave it there and keep it there. And if you want, you can borrow against your crypto. In fact, he's got 1% loans with no loan fees, which is amazing. And again, this is not an advertisement for Celsius. You got to do your own research. I use them. I like them. In fact, I have a link, which will be below, or a code where you can get $20, and I'll get $20 when you join Celsius. But it's one of those companies who are doing something that's good, in my opinion. I could be wrong. I could be bamboozled here. But look at this, is on their website. We are founded on the belief that we can do well after we do good. You get it? We can do well for ourselves. We can make a good living, good profits. But first, we have to do good for the community. So this is what I'm talking about, unbanking yourself and taking, your own economic, sort of holding your own economic future in your hands. Now, this period that we're in right now, even though Bitcoin is $9,000 a Bitcoin, is still early in the game. Because if I'm right, I think starting towards the end of this year, like I said, August, September, and on through the end of this year, and then 2021, this is the beginning of a bull run where Bitcoin, I believe, will reach new highs. The old high was 20,000 and onwards, 24,000, 28,000, and so forth. So if you think it's expensive now, wait till PayPal comes in, and it's 300 million users. Wait till, these miners run out of coin to sell, and now all of the Bitcoin is bought up. Once it's bought up, it becomes scarce. When all the houses in a neighborhood are bought up and you want to go live in that neighborhood, there's no inventory. So now the owners can ask for more for each house. So this is happening right now as Bitcoin is very quickly being liquidated from those unprofitable miners, and it's very quickly running out. Once they're done liquidating, the supply is diminished. So anyway, even right now at 9,000 bucks a Bitcoin, which is the price where I'm, of what it is now, now let me say this: July could see there could very well be a dip. Okay, so if you're a smart and savvy investor, take a chance, maybe wait, see if it goes down to 7,000, maybe even 6,000. It's possible, guys. It's July 2nd. I haven't done, no one's asked me, hey, is Bitcoin going to dip? I can't look at the chart unless someone asks me the question with an earnest desire to know. That's how it works. Anytime they've asked me that question and I've looked, so far this year it's come out. You can check my previous videos. Anytime I make a kind of venture out a prediction and go, it'll be good, in June, July, it usually doesn't come out. So, you got to own that too. But yes, it's very possible that it dips for another month or so. But come August, come September, as Rahu, the North Node, leaves the sidereal side of Gemini, things should begin to move forward and to accelerate. Okay, so this is a good time, is what I'm trying to say. If you think 9,000 is a lot, and you're like, well, I should have bought it when it was 900. Yeah, you should have, because 2010 was a great year to buy. So was 2011. So was 2012. So was 2013, and so on. Now it's 2020. Guess what? It's still a good year to buy, because Bitcoin is the greatest performing asset in the history of the world. Its percentage gain is higher than anything else. And it is likely to keep performing, because some of the greatest minds, technical minds, people who used to work at PayPal, people who used to work, at these top companies, Uber and whatnot, they're migrating to cryptocurrencies. So a lot of brain power is going there, guys. This is not just a fringe thing anymore for, anarchists and libertarians. The smart people have come into the space, and not just recently, they've been in the space for a while. And they're creating innovations that in 5-10 years are going to be, every household words. So, okay, let's get to the chart then. Unlike most people analyzing, I don't go straight into the chart, I guess. So what's happening? Well, look, this is what's happening at the moment, but as all of these planets go, see, there are a lot of retrograde planets right now. Jupiter's retrograde, Saturn's retrograde, Mercury's retrograde, Venus just finished being retrograde. As these guys go back, there is a kind of retracing your steps, like getting a foothold before things can explode again, before the bull run can begin. So yeah, I agree with you. There were some comments that said, hey, you said June, July, but what about all these retrogrades? And I thought about it and I said, yeah, you know what? You're probably right. So that's why I'm extending my, you know, my timeline, my outlook to August, September, and beyond for the bull run. And I'm still sticking to my prediction, which I think I made in March, that we'll see, or April, I'm not sure, that we'll see a new high within 10 months. So that would be maybe February of next year, something like that. So that's my Bitcoin update for now. Please take the time to actually check out the articles I have under here. If you want to check out Celsius, there are other companies that do that, by the way, that give you interest. I think Celsius seems to be the most reputable one because they're doing things right. They're registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission in the US. I don't think any other company is. They're doing everything by the book. And I think because Mashinsky wants to be around for a while. You know, this guy has invented a whole bunch of things that are that have changed our lives already, and he wants to do it again. And like he says in his videos, it's me against the banks, guys. It's us against the banks. And so far the banks have not noticed, but maybe they will. So, all right, I know this is a weird video. It's not a lot of astrology. It's not a lot of you know, deep astrological techniques or insights from me. It's just more kind of my opinion on things. But I hope this is useful to you because, you know, a year from now, we'll be looking back, I think, and going, man, Bitcoin at 9,000, huh? That was good. Should have bought it then. And of course, earlier this year, it got down to 4,000. So heck, 4,000 is a great place to buy. But you take what you can take. And again, you're not just buying to wait for it to go up. You're buying this as a way to earn 5, 6, 7, 8% interest on your income. And yes, it will go down. And yes, you'll see your savings go down. But that's what Bitcoin does. And you have to have a little bit of nerves of steel to withstand that, to go, okay, look, I'm just going to leave that there. And keep it there for the moment. All right. I actually have to take this call, so I'll see you guys in a bit. Bye for now.